The ceasefire in Gaza was broken on Tuesday after a massive Israeli airstrike killed over 400 people. At least 404 people, according to AlJazeera, including many children, were killed in renewed Israeli attacks. Israel, which has enforced a total aid blockade on Gaza for more than 2 weeks, issued a new forced displacement order for several areas before doing these strikes. And so here we go again. Apparently, these attacks are just the beginning. Israel, according to Netanyahu's office, will from now on act against Hamas with increasing military strength. The Israeli government claims that the attacks are intended to free Israeli captives and to force Hamas back to the negotiating table. Now, the only issue with that, of course, is they never left the negotiating table. There are, of course, going to be differences between the sides, disagreements, things like that. I get it. But let's note here, for the record, it is Israel that broke the ceasefire. They wanted to go back to the bombing. And what's worse is that President Donald Trump gave Netanyahu his blessing for this bombing. The White House said that Israel gave the Trump administration advance notice of a wave of airstrikes it launched across Gaza Strip early on Tuesday. The Trump administration and the White House, according to Karoline Leavitt, telling Fox News, the Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. The Wall Street Journal, citing an Israeli official, reported that President Donald Trump gave Israel the go-ahead to restart the attacks. So much for Trump getting peace between the two sides. I thought he was going to negotiate a great deal. What happened? I thought he was going to stop this whole thing. No, of course not. A group that represents families of hostages held in Gaza slammed Israel's decision to resume the fighting and claimed that the government, quote, chose to give up the hostages. We are shocked, angry, and terrified by the deliberate dismantling of the process to return our loved ones from the terrible captivity of Hamas, according to the Hostages Family Forum wrote in a post on social media. Families of the kidnapped children have been begging for a while now for meetings with elected officials who are entrusted with the fate of their loved ones, the group added in a second post. Now, it turns out that elected officials did not meet with them because they were planning to blow up the ceasefire, which could sacrifice their family members. Look, they never cared about the hostages. Okay, hostages were a pretext for Israel to do these bombings. Okay? And I'm not saying that taking the hostages was the right thing to do. No, of course not. But what we're seeing is a complete disregard for getting back the hostages. In a statement, Hamas said Israel is fully responsible for violating and overturning the agreement. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry, which is part of the Palestinian Authority in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, had called for international intervention to stop the resumption of Israeli attacks, adding that it, quote, affirms that political solutions are key to achieving calm, stopping aggression, and restoring the political horizon for resolving the conflict. The United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator for Palestine also called for a halt to the fighting, saying this is unconscionable. A ceasefire must be reinstated immediately. Well, here's the thing. With Donald Trump's approval, there's literally nothing that is stopping Israel from finishing the job. And by the way, that's exactly what Trump had said during his campaign, that he was going to allow happen. Yeah, we're going to let him finish the job. So then later on, I can go in and I could build Gaza Lago. That's it. That's it. And so you have this situation where the bombings now continue unabated. Look, here's the thing. Netanyahu, by the way, needs the far right to hold his coalition together and to retain power. So one of those members is Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who was excited about the attacks. He's like, yes, let's get back to bombing them already. God, we already took so much time off bombing them, and we need to bomb them more. My trigger fingers are itchy. Come on, we got to get in there. That's what he says. And then you have Ben Gvir's party, who had previously left that coalition, now saying, no, we're back, baby. We're back. Hell yeah. We left because of the ceasefire, but there's no more ceasefire anymore. We're back, and we're going to bomb them. If you thought that Donald Trump cared about peace and was able and would be able to get the two sides together to have a real negotiation, you were horribly mistaken. Not only did Trump give his blessing to the bombings, but around the same time, he started bombing the Houthis, which is going to get us into a war, possibly with Iran. I don't know. I don't think I should have to tell you, but a war with Iran would probably end up being an unmitigated disaster for the United States. You thought Iraq was bad and Afghanistan. Iran, what's about 4 times the size of Iraq? And much more, well, I guess has a bigger military. Not good. It's not good at all. Okay. But wait, you might be wondering, how is this going to get us into a war with Iran? The Houthis are in Yemen. Well, Trump has literally threatened to hold Iran responsible for any attacks carried out by the Houthi rebels. By the way, the Houthis have been blocking Israeli ships as a result of the Israeli bombings of Gaza. So all of this is connected to what's going on in Gaza right now. So Trump wrote on Truth Social, let nobody be fooled. The hundreds of attacks being made by Houthi, the sinister mobsters and thugs based in Yemen, who are hated by the Yemeni people, all emanate from and are created by Iran. Any further attack or retaliation by the Houthis will be met with great force, and there is no guarantee that the force will stop there. He is threatening war. But if you're not convinced yet, here's this next statement. He said, every shot fired by the Houthis will be looked upon from this point forward as being a shot fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran, and Iran will be held responsible and suffer the consequences, and those consequences will be dire. And there it is. He's going to get us into a war with Iran, which is something that Israel's been fully looking forward to, by the way. Been trying to get us into a war with Iran for a while. Now, look, I don't like the government of Iran, but I certainly don't want to go to war with them. No, this is not what America First looks like. This is not what being a pro-peace president looks like. This actually looks more like Israel first and defense contractors first. Look, here's the thing, though. I mean, yes, our foreign policy has been Israel first for a long time. I understand that. And it was under Biden. Sure. That said, what Trump is doing is taking what was already, I think, misguided foreign policy and making it that much worse. So they're going to allow Israel to ethnically cleanse Gaza, okay, because got Trump's approval, while the United States maybe launches a war against Iran. There's no one left to stop Donald Trump. All the adults are no longer in the room. Okay, so if he ends up starting a new disastrous war with Iran, I mean, yes, we're all going to feel the consequences of it, obviously, as is the rest of the world, I think. And it's all going to be because Americans voted in somebody who was absolutely unstable. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.